This deep dive is adapted from a clinician-written article on Mentalyc and brought to life in audio for therapists who prefer listening on the go.
And this piece was thoughtfully written by Adaptation, LCP. We're really excited to feature their perspective on documentation workflow. It's so practical.
It really is. Now, if you're new to Mentalyc, it's a clinical intelligence platform, and it's designed specifically to support therapists with documentation and practice management.
But, regardless of the tools you use, the core challenge that Edisua brings up in this article is, well, it's universal for us.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
that unavoidable conflict that really defines our daily rhythm.
It does.
I want you to just, for a second, recall that feeling. Maybe it was just yesterday. You're deep in a really rich session.
Mm-hmm.
You're tracking a crucial relational dynamic, maybe something with transference, or your client just has this genuine breakthrough moment. They say the perfect quote.
The one that just encapsulates everything. You're thinking.
And right in that sacred moment, you feel that internal tug.
Oh, I know it well. Do I interrupt this profound flow to grab my notebook and scribble it down? Knowing that, just the act of picking up a pen might completely change the air in the room.
Exactly. Or do you just have to rely on your tired, overtaxed memory hours later, maybe after you've seen 4 or 5 more clients?
And hope you get it right.
The reality, and Olagier points this out so well, is that manual documentation always pays a hidden tax. It almost always means spending way too much time after hours.
Which leads to fatigue. And, critically, sometimes forgetting those subtle, crucial details, the exact phrasing, the observation that really captures the client's progress.
We've all been there, trying to decode our own scribbled acronyms at 10 p.m., feeling that strain in your hand.
And that fatigue, it's not just physical. It's a cognitive drain. It steals energy directly from our ability to reflect.
Okay, so let's unpack this dilemma a bit. The source material lays out a pretty clear comparison between, traditional manual note-taking and using AI clinical notes.
Right, but the real takeaway here isn't about choosing a winner. It's more about how we define the role of the machine versus the role of the clinician.
That's a great way to put it.
And this is where the article really shifts from just novelty to a practical clinical strategy. The main insight is that AI is fundamentally a tool.
A tool for
efficiency and for structure. Its job is to generate a comprehensive first draft and to do it quickly using those essential structured templates we all know.
like SOK, DIP, BIRP.
Or even specialized EMDR notes, yeah.
And that structure, it's not just about saving time, it's about administrative compliance, which is a huge stress point for so many of us.
It's massive.
If you're dealing with insurance billing, having that complete note, the source material highlights that ensuring all the necessary information is there helps avoid those dreaded claim rejections.
That is such a significant administrative relief. We can't overlook what a compliance failure costs us in time and energy. But okay, let's challenge that efficiency claim for a second.
Go for it.
The source cites therapist testimonials saying that using AI clinical notes can potentially reduce note completion time to less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That sounds almost impossible. What's the caveat? Is that 5 minutes including the clinical review?
That's the crucial point. It's 5 minutes for the draft generation and the initial review, so it moves the clinician's job from writing to editing.
Okay. So the automation handles the bulk of it.
Right. The objective transcription, the organizing, all the stuff that takes up most of the time when you're doing it manually. You get this draft that's just ready for your clinical infusion.
Okay, but here's the critical distinction. This is the aha moment that I think we, as licensed clinicians, really have to hold on to. AI cannot, and it should not, generate notes based on the therapist's professional judgment. It's an incredibly sophisticated summary engine, but it doesn't have a theoretical orientation. It has no clinical judgment.
Think about that difference for a moment. If a client is talking about a difficult memory and they pause for, say, 10 full seconds before they continue.
The AI sees a gap, a silence in the audio.
Right. But you, the clinician, you observe the tightly clenched jaw, maybe a slight tremor in their hand. You interpret that silence as dissociation or resistance or deep reflection, all based on your theoretical framework.
That observation requires a human judgment that AI can never replicate.
Never.
And that difference, that's the essence of why we're professionals. If AI handles the objective content, the structure, the compliance piece, it frees us up.
It frees up our limited, precious cognitive bandwidth.
To focus on the why and the how. The why is the formulation, the how is the intervention. That's where our energy really needs to go.
This balance is precisely why Adesua Olajira's piece emphasizes that therapists still need to check and edit any AI-generated notes. You have to look for contextual accuracies for omissions.
So the AI note taker provides that functional, compliant foundation.
But the clinician adds the soul.
I like that. Adds the soul. And that soul is absolutely essential for maintaining the golden thread.
For any therapists who might be newer to that term, can you just quickly define it?
Of course. The golden thread is that essential link between a client's assessment, their specific treatment goals, the interventions you use in session, and then the documented progress note that reflects all of it.
It's the narrative integrity of the treatment.
Exactly. If the notes don't accurately reflect your theoretical lens, whether you're tracking attachment patterns, cognitive restructuring, whatever it is, then the documentation fails its main purpose.
Which is to guide and justify the treatment.
Precisely. Which brings us, naturally, to the necessary logistical guardrails.
Right. If we're talking about using technology to capture session content, we have to talk about consent and privacy. They're paramount.
And the article is crystal clear on this. If you choose to record sessions, even just for transcription, client consent is absolutely required and it should be documented.
And crucially, any platform you use for this has to adhere strictly to IPA compliance standards. But really, in today's digital world, that's just the starting line.
It is. Many platforms, and Mentalyc is one of them, have gone further by becoming SOC2 compliant.
And for those who might not know the difference, what does that mean in practical terms?
Well, while HIPAA governs how health information is protected, SOC2 compliance is more about the security controls and the operational excellence of the platform itself.
So it's about the tech.
It's about the tech. It means the platform has gone through these rigorous third-party audits to make sure its systems are designed and maintained to secure client data against all sorts of threats.
So it's the assurance that the digital container holding the information is as robust, or maybe even more robust, than the old locked file cabinet we used to rely on.
That's a perfect analogy. The technology should simplify, not complicate, our ethical obligations.
And it's encouraging that these tools seem to be built with that ethical and legal framework already in mind.
Yes, recognizing that the integrity of client confidentiality is the absolute non-negotiable floor for adoption.
You know, this is a good moment to just pause for a second. If the paperwork struggle or that need to maintain compliance while maximizing your presence with clients feels familiar, Mentalyc can help. Its AI note-taker supports your documentation process, providing a structured starting point while staying fully IPA and SOC2 compliant. You can explore it at Mentalyc.com.
So circling back to strategy, what does this hybrid workflow actually look like in real time?
The core insight, and it's backed up by therapist reviews in the source material, is that using AI strategically lets you radically shift to where you put your clinical energy.
It's about optimizing resource allocation.
Exactly. You use the automation to take over the time-consuming, tedious parts of structuring notes, the things that lead to that hand strain and fatigue we talked about.
That's the administrative burden lifted.
And here's the practical shift. Instead of spending 30 minutes, maybe an hour, handwriting and typing up your notes, you spend 5 critical minutes.
Doing what?
Reviewing and editing that AI draft,
Uh-huh.
specifically for accuracy, for contextual nuance, and to infuse your theoretical judgment into it.
But what if a clinician is just, uncomfortable with the idea of recording sessions, even with all the consent and security protocols in place?
That's a valid concern, and the article addresses it by talking about the flexibility of these tools, specifically mentioning the dictation feature.
Okay, so how does that work?
It's a powerful adaptation. If you choose not to record a session, or you just prefer post-session processing, you can verbally describe the session. You summarize the dynamics. You can even instruct the AI to add or delete certain information.
And the tool then synthesizes your spoken summary.
Into a compliant, well-structured intake or progress note.
That flexibility is so important. It really respects the varied clinical styles in our field. It ensures that the time savings are accessible, even for clinicians who want maximum control over the input.
And that saved time, it's not just a number on a clock, it's the clinical dividend.
The clinical dividend, I love that. It's an opportunity for deeper reflection on your client's progress, on their unique experiences.
It connects right back to that reflective capacity that, manual notes use to kind of force us into, but without the clerical exhaustion.
Right. You don't lose the ability to think back on the session and deepen your understanding. You just move the energy from data entry to focused analysis.
And once that foundational administrative burden is lifted, Our ability to track those subtle but important dynamics across sessions it improves exponentially.
Because you're not cognitively exhausted by the paperwork. You have more bandwidth to notice those elusive patterns that could be the key to the next therapeutic breakthrough.
Which leads directly into what feels like the next frontier of clinical intelligence. We're moving beyond just efficient notes.
To actually enhanced clinical insight. It's not just about transcription anymore. It's about surfacing crucial data points that might otherwise get lost in the sheer volume of information we process week after week.
Exactly.
And one critical area where our human intuition can sometimes struggle against that sheer volume is tracking the therapeutic relationship, the alliance.
The alliance makes or breaks treatment so often, yet those subtle shifts can be so hard to track consistently over months of sessions.
That's where these new tools can really offer support.
And if you want support tracking those crucial relational patterns and subtle alliance dynamics across sessions, features like Alliance Genie can analyze session content to surface subtle alliance signals, helping you reflect and maintain that golden thread without storing any recordings.
And that focus on tracking the alliance, especially, feels like the perfect ethical application of AI for clinicians. It's support, not replacement.
Right.
It ensures that the knowledge you gain from all that saved time immediately feeds back into enhanced clinical effectiveness. It improves the quality of care.
Okay, so let's leave you with this final reflective thought based on everything we've discussed today. If you are spending 3 fewer hours a week on documentation because you've adopted a highly efficient, compliant workflow, what specific clinical skill or what relationship nuance that was previously overshadowed by paperwork fatigue will you commit to focusing on more deeply next week?
How will you reinvest that rescue time back into the client relationship?